all pens are not created equal. I'll tell you all about it when we come back. Don't go away. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fat Guy Productions. I am Paul, coming to you as always from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. And indeed, all pens are not created equal. You cannot approach a pen with, say, a walnut pen blank the same way that you would with a resin blank or a blank that has a logo wrap or a specialty design in it. There's additional things you have to consider. I'm going to learn that lesson the hard way today. The pen is still going to come out great, just not perfect. And I'll show you why in this video. Let's get to it. So today we're going to be making a thin red line pen, which is dedicated to firefighters who have been seriously injured or lost their lives in the line of duty. Now, this pen blank has a thin red line running its length, so it's vital that you're accurate, and you're going to see what happens if you're just even a little bit off. So I have my pen blank cut to size and marked as accurately as I can get it. I can now slide over to the drill press. I don't have a drilling jig, and this is going to cause me a problem. I'm going to drill just using the stuff that I have. And this may be okay for most blanks, but for something so linear, it's going to be a problem. I lined my blank up by eye, and it looks perfect, but I'm off a tiny bit. And in a blank like this, that little bit is magnified, so it will end up with a red line that is a bit crooked. Now this pen is going to be for me, so it's a minor issue, but I wouldn't sell this pen. A drilling jig would prevent this issue, and you can bet your bippy that I will have one before I make my next pen. Anyhow, the pen is for me, and so it's a minor issue, and I'll just press ahead. I can now glue the pen tube into the blank. I will always choose epoxy for this, as to me it's the strongest bond and best for filling gaps. I will only turn to CA glue when I'm in a hurry. Now, my 15-minute epoxy, it really takes like 3 to 4 hours to fully cure, so for a rush job, this isn't the best choice. With the glue mixed, I can finally apply it to the pen tube. Once it's on the pen tube and it's fully covered, I'll insert it into the blank. I'll make sure it's even, and then I'm going to let it dry overnight, as I'm really in no hurry here. The next morning the glue is dry and I can make the final prep on the blank. I'll chalk up a blank squaring bit in my drill press, and I'll clean up and square the blank, and then I'm ready to start turning. So I'm going to break out the bushings for this kit, and then I'll thread everything onto a pen mandrel and lock it all down. I am finally ready to start turning. I'll turn on my lathe and run it up to around 3200 RPM. I like to round out my blanks with a roughing gouge, as it's best at removing a lot of material in a relatively short amount of time. I'll change tools later on. So with the lathe up to speed, I'll start out by making super light passes with the gouge. Remember, the blank is square right now, and going too deep is going to cause you all sorts of headaches. Pass after pass, working back and forth. I'll work to get the blank round, and honestly, right now, I'm not even thinking about shaping. There's going to be plenty of time to worry about that later down the road. So once I get the blank rounded, I like to switch to a skew to start cutting in the shape. Today, I felt like I switched a little bit too early and there was still too much material there. So I'm actually going to move back to the gouge for a bit and remove a little bit more material. Then again, I'll go back to the skew and start to cut in the shape I'm after. I like to put a small bulge near the rear of the pen and then slightly taper it going towards the tip. Once I'm feeling good about the shape, I'm going to switch to a carbide cutter for final shaping. The carbide cutter is going to give me a nice finish on the pen blank as I cut down to just short of the bushings. So I have the shape I want, and I'm shy of the bushings. Now I'll sand the blank the rest of the way down and smooth it out at the same time. Now I do have some pits in my blanks, so I start fairly aggressively and work my way through finer and finer grits. I started out with a very aggressive paper, like I think it was 120 grit, and then I switched over to my sanding screens, which I love. And I'm going to work my way through all the grits of the sanding screens, and after every one or two, I'll turn off the lathe and sand the blank laterally. By the time I'm done with the screens, my blank should be perfectly shaped and very, very smooth. Now I can turn to my sanding sponges and start to wet sand the blank. This all may sound like a lot of sanding, but trust me, it goes really fast, it's super easy, and it really makes the difference between a good pen and a great one. As with the sanding screens, I will sand through all of the grits, and after every one or two, I'll stop and again sand laterally. It actually amazes me how sanding can actually start to develop a glossy sheen, but it does. And by the time you've made it through all the sponges, the blank should start to be looking pretty awesome. Now, there are as many ways to finish a blank as there are pen turners. For me, it's pretty simple. I use this product called One Step. I apply a bit on a clean paper towel and I start the lathe. I like to give the pen a bit of speed as I want to develop a bit of heat as I apply the One Step. I apply the polish with a bit of pressure, working from end to end, really working it in, Then I finish up with a clean piece of towel and bring it to max shine. The pen blank is finally done, and yes, because of the absence of a drilling jig, it is a bit offline. Again, it's fine because this is for me, but I would never, ever sell this. So it is time to order a jig, and I highly recommend one for you as well. Anyhow, I can now put this pen together. So I have all the parts laid out in order, and the instructions are right by my side. It would suck to kill the pen here, so I'm going to follow the instructions even though I've built this pen before. I'm using an assembly press, but a bench vise or even your lathe can be used to press the kit together. I'll start by pressing the threaded insert into the front end of the blank. Now I can assemble the rear of the pen. I'll start by putting the helmet, the ladder pocket clip, and the threaded insert together, lining up the front of the helmet with the ladder and tightening it all up. Make sure to keep it aligned. Now I can press that helmet assembly and the rear of the pen together. The instruction sheet indicates the preferred alignment that will work best with the embossed art on the back of the pen. So, just follow that for a great looking finished product. Now I can press the fully assembled rear to the back end of the pen blank, and we're almost done here. To wrap this project all up, we'll press fit the ink extension to the rear of the ink cartridge. Then we'll slide that into the pen from the front. And next, we'll slide the spring on the ink cartridge. And finally, we can screw on the front cap and call this pen done. Boom. This pen sure is beautiful and very, very novel. I love the twist and lock mechanism for extending the writing tip. It's like a Stores connection found on some fire hose, and boy, it's very gratifying. And just like that, I have an amazing, fun pen that any firefighter would love, and one that should sell well on an Etsy store or at craft fairs. So there you have it, my thin red line firefighter pen, and boy do I love it, as I imagine any firefighter would. This should be very popular. I hope you love this pen and this video, and if you do, please give it a big thumbs up, click subscribe, and don't forget to click the notification bell so you never miss one of my pen videos. As always, if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I really do love to hear from you guys. You guys are the best. Well, that's it for today. Just remember, courage is looking fear right in the eye and saying, "Get the hell out of my way, I've got things to do." Until next time, this is Paul from Fat Guy Productions saying, be good.